New York Times best-selling author on the line. She is an amazing writer, and her new book, Love Warrior, it's shooting right to the top of the New York Times best-selling list. It is an Oprah Book Club selection, and folks, you know how important that is. The book is right here. It's called Love Warrior, and her name is Glennon Doyle Melton. Good morning, Glennon, and welcome to Morning Coffee.
Mark, I'm obsessed with your energy. I'm awake listening to you.
Yeah, let's do this.
Thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. It's morning coffee, and if we're not up with a lot of energy, then, man, we're not drinking the right stuff.
Well, I've already had like six mugs of coffee, so I'm ready. I'm ready, Mark.
Great. So let's talk about Love Warrior because, look, this book is fascinating. This is such a personal story to you, and I think it's really amazing that you shared it with the world, and it's about relationships and men and women and masculinity and femininity and all sorts of amazing relationship type dynamics. And I just want to get your overview. What do you tell people when they say, hey, Glennon, what's the book about?
Yeah, the backdrop of the story is my marriage and getting married, and 10 years into marriage finding out that my husband has been unfaithful throughout the entire marriage, and kind of all of the implosion and pain that happened after that, and then some of the healing. But actually, what writers do is we have to have a backdrop for the real story we want to tell, right? So the real story that I wanted to tell, and the story that underlines Love Warrior, is just what it's like to be a woman in this culture. To be a little girl and all the messages that we get about femininity and kind of the boxes that puts us in. And then looking at the other side, at masculinity and what little boys learn about what it means to be a man, and how all of that stuff, like what we learn about femininity and what boys learn about masculinity, makes it almost impossible for real women and real men to love each other well.
And it's such a powerful book because it really should start to spur some dialogue. It should really create conversation, and that's what I think is the most impressive piece of it.
That makes me so happy that you said that. I feel like that's the goal, right? I don't have any answers. I definitely don't have any answers, but I love the fact that this is getting people thinking and starting conversations in homes all over the country. It's awesome.
Yeah, and you talk about, and I'm talking to Glennon Doyle Melton. She's the author of Love Warrior. She's a New York Times bestseller. She's an Oprah pick, and you need to pick up this book. So, a lot of kind of what's going on in our culture, it revolves around the yoga and the spiritual aspect of it, and how we've got to feed our souls in order to help with our body image and all of that. So how did you incorporate some of those topics and themes into the book?
Well, I don't remember it being like something I was trying to incorporate. I think it was just a natural thing for me because part of my healing process, I think what happens to a lot of girls is that we really stop trusting our bodies young because we get so many freaking confusing messages from the culture about, shaming messages and objectifying messages about our bodies that we just disassociate from our bodies completely. And so we end up caring more about what we look like than what we feel like, right? And caring more about being wanted than what we want. And so part of the healing process for me during this time was to sort of land in my body again and to trust my body, as a vessel of wisdom and love, as opposed to this object that the culture defined for me. And the way that I did that, and not living in your body is one of the things that makes sex so confusing for women. That's why we end up feeling used, because we don't know how to land in our bodies, because it's not a safe place for us to be in this culture. So part of my healing process was learning to land in my body again, and that's how I ended up in yoga. And God, it taught me a lot. It still saves me.
It's really, we were talking a little bit about kind of that mean girls, that girl culture, a little bit indirectly. I think that you were talking more about how a lot of men make women feel, but there's a kind of a female dynamic that goes on with the cliques, and especially in a high school environment. So how did that kind of affect you? Because I know that you had some personal battles that you had to overcome that started fairly young in your life.
Well, yeah, I became bulimic early, but and all that is tied to, it morphed into alcoholism later, and addiction really is just a hiding place, for sensitive people. But look, I don't believe in mean girl culture, actually, at all. Like, I don't think that any of my stuff came from mean girl stuff. I don't believe in that. I think that, any group that has like traditionally been powerless and oppressed will naturally have to fight for their seat at the table. So that's the message that little girls get, that there's only 2 seats at the table in any given situation, and so you have to fight for it. That's different than it is for men, right?
Right.
So that comes from the top to the bottom. So what pisses me off is like the idea that girls are mean, and that's why they're fighting for a seat at the table. No, the girls are just responding to the message that the powers that be give them, that there's not enough room for all of them. And so if they want to have power, they have to fight for it. So I don't think that any of my issues came from a mean girl culture. I think my issues, came from a culture that teaches girls that what we need to be is small and quiet and selfless and keep disappearing. And so that is why I stopped eating. And that's why I, got my body image stuff all jacked up, because of real messages that the culture sends girls about how to be a successful woman.
Well, and that is why this book is so important and why you need to pick up Praise for Love Warrior. I'm sorry, I was reading the back. The back has all this praise for Love Warrior, and I just, I took the words, but Love Warrior, Love Warrior is really a book that shares a personal journey that's going to be able to help you put a different light on your relationships, on your body, on your life. And I think that it's a message that not just women, but men need to read too, because it breaks down some of those barriers and those walls that we seem to put up as a protection mechanism.
I'm so glad that you said that. I think it is for men too. I mean, we need to, I think for guys, like I talk to guys all over the country now, and I feel like guys are desperate. I mean, men are just as human as women, right? Like, they need to talk about their experience and their feelings, and it seems like in our culture, guys are only allowed to talk about sports and weather, and, like, that's it in the news. And I know that from talking to men all over the country during this book tour that men are desperate to get real, too. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that men will read this book and will start opening up and talking about their experiences just like women get to.
All right, Glennon, now it's time. You got to tell me, how do I get the book? Where does everyone go to get it?
Well, it's everywhere. It's at your local bookstore. It's at Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's all over the place. I'm just, because Oprah picked it, so it's
yeah.
It's everywhere now.
Yeah, that's awesome, and congratulations on that. That's fantastic, and Glennon is involved in a great charity called Together Rising, so you want to support her and buy this book, Love Warrior. Pick it up today. Glennon, Doyle, Melton, I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me right here on Morning Coffee.
Mark, you're amazing. I love this interview. Thank you so much.
Well, that was very nice of you to say. I really appreciate it, and it was my pleasure. And listen, everybody out there, go buy Love Warrior. It's a fantastic book, and you're going to get a lot out of it. And I appreciate Glennon, Doyle, Melton spending a few minutes with me. I got to take another break here on Morning Coffee, but don't go anywhere, folks, because we're going to be right back here on the Radio Vision Network. Stick around.
We've been a VIP Pet Care family.
Prescription products. VIP Pet Care, dedicated to improving the lives of pets and the people who love them.
Our pets love VIP Pet Care.
We've been a VIP Pet Care family.
Prescription products. VIP Pet Care, dedicated to improving the lives of pets and the people who love them.
Our pets love VIP Pet Care.
We've been a VIP Pet Care family.
Prescription products. VIP Pet Care, dedicated to improving the lives of pets and the people who love them.
Our pets love.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing.